Hey everyone, welcome to the Captain Drone YouTube channel. My name is Steve, and in my hands I have the iFlight SKYVIZ LED goggles. I call them LED because you can change the colors of the LED in the forward section of the goggles. But these are pretty cool goggles. A little pricey, but pretty cool. Alright, so what's so great about these SKYVIZ goggles? Well, they're new on the market. They are analog. It's very rare you get new analog goggles on the market that are OLED inside. They have individual screens for each eyeball. So that's better than those cheap old box goggles you get off of Banggood for like 100 or 200 bucks. They come with a built-in fusion receiver. So there's a receiver already in them, not like Fat Sharks. Fat Sharks, you buy them and sometimes you don't get the receiver. You have to buy the receiver separately and attach it with the antennas. This model of goggles has all of that. As a matter of fact, even the antennas that are here and flip-up style antennas are linear polarized antennas, multi-directional. So in other words, if you fly to the front, to the side, to the back of you, it will still pick up the reception just as good as if you were in the front of you. As well, inside the receiver, there's anti-interference technology, so you'll always get a clear video signal no matter where you fly. Even if you're going out of range, I'll show you that in this video. The video will just start to get a little bit fuzzier and fuzzier and fuzzier. It's not like in the olden days where it looks like an old TV set and the screen and the picture's going all over the place. Nope, these are more modern. Since they're analog, they're ultra low latency, so the display that comes back into the goggles is immediate. As I already mentioned, you get two screens inside, so two separate TVs for each eye, so they're designed for people who are far-sighted or nearsighted. You do not have to wear glasses in here. If you wear glasses like me, you take your glasses off, put these on, and you can adjust them to the same prescription as your glasses. You can move the display screens in and out. You can put a micro SD card in the goggles. They fit over one of the eyes. That will record all the video of your flights, and this has the technology for auto record. So if you go flying, you forget to press the record button, which is on top, doesn't matter, it will start recording for you and stop recording when you land. It's pretty cool. You can also play back that video in the goggles if you wish, or stick your micro SD card like I did in a computer and watch the video there. So all the video you're going to see of flights recorded in this review was all recorded in these goggles. The goggles are very modern, so if you don't like the picture quality that you get inside, there's tons of options to adjust the picture quality, brightness, contrast, focus, sharpness, all sorts of stuff. In addition, you see these antennas, I've already spoke about them, the reception that's in here. Say you want to use your own receiver and you don't want to use the ones that come in the goggles, well, you can. And I'll put on the screen what receivers are compatible with these goggles. So items like True DX, Foxeer, Wildfire, those are all analog and they will work with these goggles. If you put the external receiver, you just set it up inside to say use the external receiver. If you want to use these for digital like Walksnail, it is compatible with Walksnail. You have to put the Walksnail receiver on the outside, same idea, it works with that. If you do HD0, it only works if you run the HD0 into the HDMI in port. Yes, there's HDMI in on here, so that means you can use these goggles with many things in the RC hobby that fly around that have a different transmission system. However, they do send out the signal to HDMI, and you can just plug in the HDMI in here and then boop, put the goggles on and fly FPV. So up top there's a built-in fan, and the fan works really well. I've used these goggles on a really hot day and it never fogged up inside. It's very good. The image you see inside can be square or widescreen. It's up to you to select it inside. I left it on square for mine, so all the video I'm going to record and show you is all square in function. The field of view back to your eyeballs is 44 degrees, which is common for analog. It's like sitting in a movie theater and you're looking forward, you see the big screen theater. It's not immersive. In other words, it doesn't go from way over here to a way over here and bring you inside the picture. No, you can actually see the whole frame in front of you. And speaking of the picture, the resolution in here is 1920 by 1080. Did I get that right? Or is it 1080 by 1920? Anyways, that's what the resolution is. And the refresh rate, so that your eyes don't see a lot of like flashing images or anything like that, is 100 Hertz, which is more than sufficient for FPV goggles. So what I want to show you now is me flying the Patrol 132. This is an analog drone, came out many years ago, runs on a 6S battery. It seems like it runs forever. You get like 10 minutes flight time on this thing. It's really good, very fast. It's a very good analog FPV drone, and I fly it with a Radiomaster TX16S, one of the oldest ones on the market. And I do the maiden flight using these goggles, and I'll tell you how they feel on my head, what I see in the image, and how they work for me. Then I'm going to get Jedi Steve to fly it in a different location on a different day, and we'll see what he thinks about these goggles. Then I'll show you what comes in the box. That's the box back here. Show you what comes in that, and then back to me, and I'll tell you my positives and negatives. if you look at this camera here, you can see I'm out in an open field. The reason I'm out here is to make sure there's no interference. I have to adjust these to make sure I can see the entire display, but here we go. Going up. Miss me. Come around, much better. No interference here from houses or whatever. I can buzz around myself. So I'm used to using digital goggles, and analog is something I do now and then, but I don't do it all the time. The brain just has to get used to what you see in the goggles for you to fly properly. I'm in acro mode here, and it seems like it's doing pretty good. So let's just go along the course here. Go this way. Stay away from the trees. There's little kitties over here, so I have to avoid them. They're over in the splash park. But you can see I've got some range. And this is this drone is shooting out at 400 milliwatts, so the goggles will pick them up, pick up the signal, no problem. Make sure I don't hit myself. This is a very, very fast quad too, by the way. But everything looks good. I'm not getting any weirdo stuffo in the display. Everything looks the way it should look. So there's a splash park. There's all the kitties and stuff down there. Woo, getting a little bit of interference. Whenever you get interference in analog, you just turn around. So what are my thoughts on this? Well, the image, I've got it set on, you know, a square image. It looks like I'm in a movie theater and I'm in the back row looking way out front. Your brain gets used to it really fast, so it's not a big deal. The only problem I do have is that my eyeballs are focusing in the center of the image, so all the writing on the screen, I don't see it very well. I have to go and tilt the goggles. Let me see if I can do that here while flying in acro mode. There we go. So now I can see my voltage of the battery. I can see through the trees, so I can fly through them. But if there was a tiny person there, I might not see them. You know, that's the problem with analog. It's not as bringing out all the details that you want as you would get with digital. But yeah, you can still fly through things and do stuff like this, no problem. So I'm going to put these down on the ground. At the top, if you haven't noticed it yet, I'm just going to show you that at the very top. You can see that's my transmission and reception. Transmission, reception. Duh. See those little lines moving back and forth? That's, you know, the signal coming to the two antennas on my goggles coming back. So if I fly someplace where I'm out of range, let's just try it over here where nobody's around. I'm going to go, oh, there's lots of cars down there. Well, see what the range is on this thing. Let's go. Still going, still going. When it starts to get really bad, I have to turn it around immediately. Oh, we're still going, getting some snow. This is pretty far. Yeah, and I'm at 3.5 volts. Well, I don't want to go forever, but that's a pretty far range. Look at that. The reason I don't want to go forever is because the battery on here is definitely going to give out on my quad. Then I have to go search for this through the woods. But yeah, it's not bad. It went all that way. So that's pretty darn decent. And I am not even anywhere near. I'm way over here. Coming back, coming back, coming back. And there I am. I'm that dot, that speck on the ground right over here. All right, coming in for a crash landing. There I am. I'm going to hit the arm switch right about now. There we are. All right, so the SKYVIZ goggles don't really fit well on my square head. So I have Jedi Steve here. He has a triangle head, I believe.
Let's see.
So we'll see how well they fit on his head. Try one. So.
All right, here's the big test. Can I, where do you turn them on there, Steve?
There's a power button. Reach around the bottom, and the front will light up, and I'll know they're on. There we are.
There we go. Oh boy, okay.
Okay.
I gotta adjust them because now it's all fuzzy to me.
You want me to give you a video feed?
Yep, please.
Okay, here we go. All right, I'm gonna plug this drone in really quick. Give you some video footage. There we are.
Okay.
So, let me just bring this camera around, and you should see yourself.
Pretty decent for analogs. Image is nice. There you go, I got it, I think, Steve, but I could still use some downward adjustment that I'm having a hard time getting.
So let me just say the following. For me, there's light coming in the bottom. Do you have light coming in the bottom?
No, that's not an issue for me.
Okay, so
I guess my triangle head.
Triangle head is better than a square head. And what about, can you see the entire image?
Yes.
You can?
Yes.
Oh, okay. See, I
feel
can't.
like I'm doing an eye exam here.
I have to pull the top part down to see the entire image. Yeah. So, but you can see the bottom where it shows the voltage.
Yep.
And you can see the upper part where it shows the transmission.
Yeah. It's just finer adjustment now that I would have to do before I fly, and that's what I'm doing right now. But yeah, no, the image is good. I can focus. All good.
Okay, well here, I'll let you fly this really quick and then you tell me what you think. Quad's down here and Jedi Steve is over here, and take her up and then tell me what you think.
All right.
Go ahead. You're flying the Petrel, so it's going to be fast.
Yes. It's good, Steve. I mean, it's analog. I'm spoiled now, so it's certainly not a DJI image, but for analog, it's very, very decent, very clear. I got no issues focusing on it. Image is a little darker than I'd like, but that might be just a finer adjustment. Yeah, and finer adjustment that I would have to do in the settings, whatever, which I didn't do. But otherwise, it's good old analog. Nothing wrong with it.
And what do you think about the detail? I find when I use analog, my eyes are such that I can't see small, fine detail because I'm used to DJI and everything digital. How about you?
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, like I was just saying, I'm really spoiled with digital now, so it's kind of hard to go back to analog and being satisfied with it. But again, like if you never flown DJI, this will be perfectly good. I mean, it does the job. It's clear enough that you can do the maneuvers you want to do. You can go through the gaps you want to go through. It's just you don't get the finer details that you get addicted to once you get into the digital. But before you get to digital and you can only afford analog, this seems to be a great set of goggles.
All right, so take a look at the front of the goggles. Do you notice the green LED lights?
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, so you can change those lights to any color you want. There's a whole pile in the menu.
Yeah.
They added just for a cool feature.
Very DJI-like, eh?
It does have HDMI, so if you have any need to have HDMI in,
cool.
yeah, it's got HDMI, which I use, so that's what I'll use them for. So overall, you think they're pretty good? Yeah,
no, for analog, they're very, very good. Comparable to whatever any analog system I've ever tried, for sure. They're just as good as the best of them. So
okay,
yeah, I like them.
All right, well, there we go. We have one person who loves them. I like them. He loves them.
I like them a lot.
Oh, now you're into like. I thought you were into love there for a bit. I thought it was a love fest.
I love digital. I like good analog.
Yeah. I like analog too, but I love digital. Okay, thanks. Here we have the box containing the SKYVIZ goggles. Opening the box reveals a hard case. Opening the hard case reveals the SKYVIZ goggles and accessories. Looking closely at the goggles, you can see the construction is really well done. Both antennas flip up. On the top of the goggles, you'll find the record button, and on the other side, you'll find the back button and 5-way toggle switch. In the top center, you'll find the cooling fan. Over the right eyepiece is where you can place a micro SD card to record video. To set focus and eyepiece distance, the controls are on the bottom. Also on the bottom is the audio visual in, as well as the HDMI in ports. The bottom is also where you'll find the power button, as well as the power in connector, as well as the headphone jack. The faceplate is made of very soft, grippy material. Total weight of the goggles would be 276 grams. The head strap for the goggles is also included, as well as a microfiber cleaning cloth and a user manual. The goggles are powered with any batteries you have lying around that have an XT60 connector. And finally, the last two items would be the warranty card for after-sales service and a set of stickers. All right, you're back to me, and I'll give you my negatives and positives first. I only have two major negatives when flying this. For me, for my square head shape, I call it a square head because these don't fit on my head, and that's the negative. They don't fit on my head very well. So I have light coming in the bottom, and the top part, I want to tilt it down so I can see the actual voltage on the screen. I can't see that unless I tilt them way down on my nose. So they don't feel right on my head. But that's my negative for me. Jedi Steve tried it, and they fit perfectly on his triangle head. The other negative would be the price. You see, these cost $479 US. That's a lot of money in the year 2025 for a pair of analog goggles. Yes, these are great analog goggles, but are they $479 worth analog goggles? For example, if you're into digital and you buy the most expensive HD walk snail goggles, you know, you're going to pay something. I got to look at my screen. The most expensive walk snail goggles are $459. You know, that's what they're on for right now. And they're digital walk snail, and they have all the same features. They have HDMI, they have two images, you know, like two different screens in them, adjustable. They do everything, but they're digital, so that makes them better. I can't compare these to DJI goggles because DJI goggles, well, if you go to the lowest price DJI goggles, which are, let me just grab them back here, which are these ones, the N3 DJI goggles, well, these are box goggles. There's one big screen inside. Sure, you got two eyepieces, but I think you're kind of looking at one screen, so they don't really focus on your eyes. You see, there's nothing to focus them or anything like that. There's no HDMI in. Even if I jump up to DJI Goggles 3, the most expensive, best goggles on the market, well, obviously these are digital, much better, but you can only use them with DJI products. Once again, no HDMI in. There's not a lot of features in them, but they do have two individual screens inside, and you can adjust them for either eyeball. But if you're in the market for analog goggles, there's not much on the market anymore. There's Fat Sharks. The problem with Fat Sharks a lot of times is if you want to get a good pair of Fat Shark goggles, you don't get the receiver in them. You have to add the receiver to the outside. So that's an extra $100 or $200 for the receiver. But then there's SkyZone goggles, and SkyZone analog goggles are usually full featured. So yeah, I think SkyZones would be very much in competition with these. Enough complaining, let me get to the good part. So the good part is, for analog goggles, these would be up with the best analog goggles money can buy because the image is very clear. You fly all over the place. It looks really good inside. Next positive is it does have an HDMI in, and there's a lot of products in the RC hobby that send out a signal, and they might not work with everything, but they do allow HDMI, and since you have HDMI in, you're all set. You can use these with almost anything. Another positive is there's a built-in receiver, and not just any receiver. It's a Fusion receiver, so it's one of the better ones, and it gets all the bands, all the channels. You can just pick what you want. It's really good. Next positive would be these antennas. They're omnidirectional. Unfortunately, in the analog FPV hobby or analog hobby, most of our antennas are like mushroom or patch antennas. They're left or right polarized. So it becomes very confusing, but these ones are omnidirectional. It doesn't matter. You can use them with pretty much anything. It will adjust and pick up the correct signal. Next positive is the OLED displays. So if you run a digital signal in here, you can really see how good they are on your eyes. The colors are just incredible. In analog, it's not that bad. You know what I recorded is low quality. So if that low quality looked okay to you, well, just imagine how good it looks in the goggles. For another positive, you're not going to let me forget the LEDs up front, that you can customize them so you can make them to your liking. If you fly at night, make them red. If you fly in the day, make them green or blue so they stand out. Also, you have a fan up top, which is very functional. It works, and you can adjust the fan inside. You also have a record button up top, but my biggest like is it has auto record, because a lot of times I forget to press that record button when I go fly. So as soon as you take off, it starts recording. As soon as you land, it stops recording. And the last like would be the size. It's very small. For analog goggles, they're very tiny. They don't weigh a lot, and you do get a case with them that fits in here. Inside this case, I put the battery for the goggles inside as well as the cable. And if you're wondering about a battery, you plug in the cable into any type of battery, like a 2S, 3S, or 4S. I use a 4S in this video. 4S, you can get many days worth of power out of it, because I flew it many times on this battery, and this battery is only down to like 60% after multiple flights using these goggles. So these goggles do not use a lot of power. And that brings me to the end of my review. I hope this review helped you out with your thoughts on buying these goggles. I'm sure all of you watching this right now, the only people interested are those who need analog goggles. So this brings me to the end of my review. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have questions on these goggles, post them below and I'll get back to you. But for now, I say thanks for watching, and I will catch you in a future review with many more cool products. Until then, I say bye.